After 17 silent years, a garbage man revealed an incredible truth that changed everything forever. Charlie Anderson woke up each day before the sun crested the horizon, pulling on his dusty boots and grabbing his worn-out coffee mug. Mill Creek was a town that felt burdened, and he was its uncelebrated soldier. For 17 years, he collected refuse from the streets, a steadfast presence with a warm smile. Each morning, he would wave to the few neighbors who noticed him, finding solace in the simple moments, yet always feeling like an invisible thread in the fabric of the town. The people of Mill Creek saw him as just another blue-collar worker, someone whose gratitude for hard work slipped through their fingers like the trash he collected at home. Things were anything but tranquil. Charlie's son, Jake, was the brightest ember of hope in his life, but a constant source of frustration. As a high school senior, Jake's dreams of becoming a doctor filled their small living room with arguments. "Dad, you don't get it," Jake would shout, eyeing the discarded newspapers that piled up in the corner. "Hard work is great, but you have to have ambition. Get out of this town." Charlie's chest tightened each time, his heart aching for the dreams his son held so dearly. One chilly morning, Charlie learned that the local charity he supported, a lifeline for struggling families, was on the brink of closing. Through grit and inspiration, he decided to rally his neighbors for a community cleanup and fundraiser. Despite initial doubts, word spread like wildfire, and soon, the town came together, fueled by the hope Charlie brought. Laughter and camaraderie echoed through the air as adults, teenagers, and even toddlers in matching shirts dug through heaps of trash, finding treasures, not just in the discarded items but in their shared purpose. As sweat dripped from their brows, Charlie glanced around, feeling an unfamiliar warmth in his chest. They were smiling, united for a cause that mattered. Old wounds began to heal, and for just that moment, Charlie felt the love and appreciation he longed for, a powerful reminder that he was part of something bigger. But just as the town began to see Charlie differently, a letter arrived that shattered his newfound joy. It revealed an astonishing legacy. He was the heir to a fortune, a hidden lineage connected deeply to Mill Creek. As he read the words, betrayal and disbelief washed over him like a summer storm. How could a garbage man be linked to wealth? Uncertainty gripped the town as whispers buzzed like angry bees, fracturing the newfound unity. Jake was left spiraling, now confronted with pride and confusion. He'd spent years dismissing everything Charlie stood for, and now he wasn't sure where he fit in. Would the town still see him as a man of integrity, the one who washed the streets clean, or would they only see the money that could come with his new identity? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Charlie stood at a crossroads, grappling with who he was now versus the man he'd always believed to be. The community's whispers hung thick in the air, filled with judgment. As he prepared to address the crowd at the upcoming town hall meeting, he desperately wanted to bridge the gap. Would they accept him for his heart and hard work, or continue to view him through their biases? The weight of the moment pressed on him. He hoped they would see the man behind the mask, the garbage man who had found the strength to rise above their perceptions. Charlie took a deep breath, staring at the hall where so many faces would soon gather, a mix of curiosity and skepticism. The wooden doors creaked as they swung open, revealing rows of folding chairs filled with townspeople. He could see their expressions, some warm, others cold. All of it weighed on him like an anchor dragging him down. In the front row, Jake sat with his arms crossed, a storm brewing behind his eyes. The anger and confusion he felt was palpable. Charlie could feel it even from the stage. What if Jake couldn't reconcile the idea of wealth with his father's humble life? Charlie's heart sank at the thought of losing his son to this chaos. As Charlie cleared his throat, a hush fell over the crowd. "Thank you all for being here," he began, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "A few days ago, I received a letter that turned my world upside down. Felt like a bad dream. He paused, scanning the sea of faces before him, each one filled with unspoken questions. I'm not just Charlie the garbage man anymore. I've been told I'm part of something bigger. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some leaned in, eager to catch every word, while others exchanged doubtful glances. Charlie pressed on, desperation fueling his speech. For years, I've taken pride in my work. I found purpose in every piece of trash I picked up. But I never thought that I would be linked to wealth that changes how people see you. His stomach twisted as he continued to unpack the truth. This fortune doesn't change who I am. It doesn't erase the years I've spent collecting refuse, pouring my heart into this community. In fact, I see it as an opportunity to give back, to strengthen what we've built here. He felt the weight of his father's legacy as he spoke, the echoes of his own hard work resonating within him. Yet he noticed Jake shaking his head in disbelief, eyes narrowed. This isn't you, Dad. The words slipped out before Charlie could hold them back. The crowd shifted uneasily, the tension rising. You can't let money change you. Charlie's heart clenched. There was his truth. His son was terrified of who he might become. But wasn't this also an opportunity to show Jake that change didn't have to mean losing oneself? Jake, listen, Charlie pleaded, half sinking into the vulnerability he felt. This town deserves better, and I want to be a part of that change together. As the words slipped from his lips, something shifted in the room. Slowly, a few people in the back began to nod, their murmurs quieting. But others frowned, resistant to the idea of a garbage man stepping into a world they thought was beyond him. Will you help me? Charlie asked the crowd, probing for a sign of acceptance. Let us use whatever this legacy brings to uplift our community, to ensure Mill Creek thrives. I broke down barriers today, not just in collecting trash, but in our shared misunderstandings. Will you trust me? The silence was deafening, each heartbeat echoing in Charlie's ears. But before anyone could respond, a figure stood up at the back, a surprise even to Charlie. It was Mrs. Thompson, one of his fiercest critics. I've seen you, Charlie, she said, her weathered hands trembling slightly. I've seen you work. You may have been a garbage man, but you've also been a hero. And your heart is what makes you rich, not this legacy. A ripple of affirmation spread through the crowd, a collective pulse of hope and a flicker of unity igniting in the room. Charlie's breath caught as he looked over to Jake. He couldn't hide his emotions. The boy was watching, perhaps finally beginning to understand. But the journey was far from over, and as the townsfolk prepared to voice their thoughts, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Would their acceptance truly come? Meanwhile, as Jake looked from his father to Mrs. Thompson, questions churned in his mind. If Charlie followed this new path as a man with money, could he still be the dad he always respected? Would the threads of their relationship fray, or could they weave something stronger in this unfolding chapter of their lives? The room buzzed with conversation as each voice rose and fell, leaving Charlie standing at the very edge of transformation. The moment hung like a ripe fruit, ready to fall. Would he finally grasp it, or would it slip away? The noise of the room enveloped Charlie, a mix of whispers, laughter, and skepticism rising around him. Each heart spoke in its own language, some rooting for him, while others held strong distrust. He took a step forward, feeling the weight of all those watching him, not just with their eyes, but with their histories, their stories woven tightly into the fabric of Mill Creek. Please, he raised his hands, trying to quiet the murmurs. I get it. You have questions. You have concerns. I'm not just a garbage man anymore, but I'm still the same Charlie. I aim to use this unexpected fortune not for me, but for all of us. Each word felt heavy, sizzling with raw truth. But Charlie could see Jake still sitting there, arms stubbornly crossed, and it made his heart ache. He wanted to reach out, to pull him close, and yet, the distance seemed like an insurmountable chasm. You really think you can change anything? A voice called out from the back. It was Tom, a longtime acquaintance who had never been shy about airing his doubts. A bunch of money doesn't mean we're all gonna magically get along now. A wave of agreement rippled through the crowd, and Charlie's heart sank again. That's not what I'm saying, he said, his voice straining. Money won't solve everything, but it can help. I found ways to make a difference, even in my old job. I want to do more, to invest in our schools. Our park schools don't need your money. Another voice interrupted. They need good teachers, not some rich guy throwing dollars at problems. Charlie felt a rush of frustration bubble inside, but he held it back. You're right. Good teachers are essential. But what if we could create an environment where we attract more of them? What if we funded after-school programs that inspire creativity? Let us remember what matters, the people right here in this room. Mrs. Thompson's voice broke through again, full of warmth. You've always cared, Charlie. Your hands were always there to lend a hand, not just pick up garbage. You've built relationships, trust. If anyone can lead us towards something better, it's you. Her words lingered, pushing through the fog of negativity and planting seeds of hope. Charlie noted Jake's expression shift, the storm in his eyes beginning to settle as he absorbed the community's response. Dad, Jake spoke softly, though it carried across the room. What if they're right? What if this changes you? What if it changes us? Change doesn't have to be bad, Charlie urged, desperation creeping into his tone. Tears stung his eyes as he desperately searched his son's face, looking for the boy he once knew, the boy who believed in magic and hope. There's a chance here to help others, to show them that we don't have to lose who we are, no matter how much money we have. I just don't want to lose you, Jake whispered, the vulnerability of his voice cutting through the gathering tension. Charlie stepped down from the stage, feeling an urge to bridge the gap that was forming between them. I'm still your dad, he said, voice thick with emotion. That one change. We will navigate this together, I promise. Please allow me this chance to prove it. In that moment, everything felt fragile, the air thick with anticipation and unspoken hopes. The crowd watched them, silence settling over the hall, and Charlie's heart raced, urging Jake to take a step forward, to come back to him. Just then, a figure stepped up from the back, an unexpected ally. It was old Mr. Evans, known for his harsh tongue and sharper opinions. Charlie, he declared, his voice steady and clear, if this will lead to a brighter Mill Creek, then count me in. But mark my words, it's a slippery slope. As applause broke out, Charlie felt a wave of relief mixed with fear. The room was shifting, thoughts evolving. But uncertainty loomed larger than ever. Could he hold on to himself while leading them forward? Before they could respond, a spark ignited, igniting curiosity and fear. What would it mean to really change? The question hung heavy in the air. The potential of what lay ahead pulsated with each heartbeat, casting both shadows and light. Would Jake stand by his side as they took on this new journey? Or would the weight of money and legacy tear them apart? The room was still buzzing, a mix of emotions swirling like the leaves caught in a brisk autumn wind. Charlie stood amidst the echoes of hope and doubt, his heart pounding in his chest. Each clap of applause from Mr. Evans felt like a lifeline, but the uncertainty wasn't gone. It clung to him like a shadow, threatening to pull him into anxiety. Jake remained on the sidelines, his face twisted with conflicting emotions. Charlie wanted nothing more than to embrace him, to erase the worry etched across his brow. But how could he do that in front of an audience? The distance between them felt tangible, a cold divide that wouldn't easily thaw. Dad, Jake said again, breaking the silence. I want to believe in this, I really do. But it's not just about the money anymore. It's about who you'll become. You know how they see you. What if this changes everything? Charlie felt a sense of urgency. I'll always be your dad, he replied, the conviction rising in his throat. But if we want things to change, we've got to take some risks. It's a team effort, right? The crowd murmured. Some leaned in, curious about where this would lead. Others still looked skeptical, doubt lingering like an unwelcome guest. He knew they were right in a way. The foundation of Mill Creek had taken time to build, but it also needed nurturing to grow. And there he stood, a supposed tree with new, rich roots that could either help it flourish or bring it crashing down. Charlie, someone yelled from the back. It was Claire, a woman known for her fierce opinions and no-nonsense attitude. Change can be good, but let us say you pour money into the school. What if it doesn't work? What's the backup plan? Backup plan? Charlie echoed, sweat forming on his brow. I hadn't thought about that. Jake pushed himself off the wall, finally walking toward his dad. As he moved closer, Charlie felt a breath of relief in his chest. Dad, let us focus on what we can do today instead of what might happen tomorrow. Charlie nodded, grateful for his son's support. It was a reminder that no one could do this alone. You're right. Let us start small. We could set up a community workshop about funding ideas. Invite teachers, parents, and students, all the voices that matter. Tom stood up once more, this time with a hint of a smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. How about we even create a neighborhood event? Rally everyone together and put our heads together for the future? That suggestion hung in the air like a ripe fruit waiting to fall. Mrs. Thompson grinned widely. A festival. We could celebrate our community while discussing the changes. The crowd erupted in excitement, some not even waiting for Charlie's next words and already imagining the event. Ideas bounced around the room: the food, the games, how to bring in community leaders. For the first time, Charlie felt the weight of hope pressing down on him rather than doubt. Charlie turned to Jake, who now wore a tentative smile, his eyes sparkling with something that resembled joy. See? Charlie whispered, leaning closer, this is what we need. It's not about being rich. It's about being right there with them. But what if it all falls apart, Dad? Jake's voice dropped to a whisper. We won't let it, Charlie assured him, squeezing his shoulder. If it starts to slip, we'll catch it together. Just as laughter and discussions took over the room, a sudden chill draped over them. A quiet hush fell again as the doors swung open. A tall, familiar figure stepped in, the new mayor, eyes gleaming with something unknown. Charlie, they called out, a hint of challenge threading into their voice. I have some important questions for you, and I don't think what you've proposed is enough. The room tightened around them, anticipation crackling in the air. What did this mean? Would it reinforce the hope they had just ignited? Or would it spark another wave of doubts? With all eyes now on them, Charlie tightened his grip on his son's shoulder, already bracing for the storm ahead. Charlie's heart raced as he felt the weight of the mayor's gaze piercing through the crowd, the air thick with tension. He steadied himself, drawing a breath deep enough to find his voice beneath the rustle of whispers. What do you mean, Mayor? It was a struggle to project calm, but he pressed on. What more could be needed? The mayor stepped forward, their demeanor radiating authority. While I appreciate the excitement in this room, they said, eyes flitting across the eager faces, community spirit is not enough. We need a solid plan, a vision that can hold up when the chips are down. Charlie glanced at Jake, whose expression flickered between pride and dread. He could feel the room bristle, tension snaking between neighbors like an unseen current. I promise to put together ideas that will work, Charlie replied, though uncertainty gnawed at the edges of his confidence. I just need the support of everyone here. We all want the same thing, right? There were murmurs, some nods, but also skeptical faces still hung in the air. Claire leaned in again. But what if those ideas don't bring the change we need? We need something concrete. Charlie's thoughts grew frantic. Suddenly, the workshop and festival didn't seem like enough. What if we reached out to local businesses? They could sponsor the event or provide resources. Great idea. Tom chimed in, his optimism pushing against the mayor's critiques. We could even showcase their contributions, bridge connections within the community. Right? Charlie continued, holding onto the flicker of momentum. If we can showcase everything our town has to offer, art, music, local talent, it might catch the attention of larger sponsors. The mayor crossed their arms, leaning slightly forward. That's a step in the right direction, Charlie, but it's not enough when you're competing against bigger schools and districts. You'll need data, evidence of why Mill Creek deserves this investment. Data. The word echoed in Charlie's mind, like a heavy weight tethering him. I can gather feedback, requests from teachers and students. We can create a comprehensive proposal, sure, But where are you going to present it? The mayor interrupted, tone cutting like glass. Should you not have a trend line or historical performance data to justify requests? The laughter and chatter that just moments ago energized the atmosphere began to fade. What Charlie thought was an opening was suddenly a barrier, a steep slope he wasn't sure he could climb. But Jake's resolute hand squeezed his shoulder, grounding him in that moment. "Dad," Jake whispered, voice laced with reassurance, "you've been doing this all along. Trust your instincts. Show them the heart of our community." Charlie turned to face the crowd that had supported him just moments before. "If we bring everyone together to gather their voices and ideas, we'll build something strong. A place that holds value for every person in this town." As the words hung in the air, he could see some heads nodding, seeds of hope taking root again. The mayor, however, wore a face of skepticism, the challenge still present. "That essay start, but you'd better come prepared to showcase the community's need. Otherwise, it won't matter how many smiles you bring." The prospect seemed daunting. Still, Charlie felt a flicker of resilience igniting within him. "You'll see what this town can do," he replied, determination creeping back into his voice. "We're going to rise above this." With a tight smile, he turned back to Jake, who looked genuinely proud for the first time that night. "We can do this together, can't we?" Charlie asked. "Absolutely." Then he caught another glimpse of Mrs. Thompson, her hands raised in excitement, urging everyone to rally. The conversations picked up once again, but were now infused with a renewed spirit. As the discussions resumed, Charlie couldn't shake the feeling that the coming days would require even more strength, strategy, and unity than they had shown so far. Just then, the possibly pivotal thought hit him. If they truly wanted to make an impact, they would need to dig deeper. "How about we reach out to alumni?" he proposed. "People who've grown up here, gone out into the world. Their stories could inspire and mobilize support." At that moment, a phone buzzed in the front row, pulling everyone's attention. The mayor's eyebrows shot up as they leaned towards the screen. "That could change everything," the mayor murmured, glancing back at Charlie, this time with a different kind of focus. "What do you mean?" Charlie's stomach nodded, anticipation flowing through him. "Let us just say there's been breaking news about our community," the mayor said, lips curling into a knowing smile. The wave of silence washed over the room as the tension shifted once more. What had they discovered? Would this be the catalyst they needed, or another layer of complication? With the weight of the unknown pressing against him, Charlie braced himself for yet another twist in their journey. Charlie squinted as he leaned forward, the mayor's words resonating with an urgency that gripped him tightly. The atmosphere shifted again, quickened pulse echoing around the room as eyes darted to the mayor. What news could possibly be monumental enough to alter the course of their plans? With a hesitant nod, the mayor gestured towards the phone, her gaze sharp and electric. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a live update coming in regarding the state of Mill Creek. Reports show a redevelopment initiative set to launch next month." The murmurs exploded into a cacophony, disbelief and excitement swirling through the crowd. Charlie felt a bead of sweat slip down his back. "Redevelopment?" he echoed, mind racing with possibilities. "Yes," the mayor said, "this is a partnership with the state aimed at revitalizing struggling communities. Mill Creek is on their radar." A collective gasp swept through the crowd, followed by a wave of laughter and chatter. Charlie's heart raced. This could be the lifeline they needed, the validation that their community was worth investing in. Claire stood up, her face alight with enthusiasm. "We need to get involved. This could mean job creation, funding for schools, and better resources across the board." Tom's fists pounded into the air. "And we can use this momentum for our festival. If we can pair this news with our ideas, we might be able to secure funding." Charlie's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, blending hope with tinges of ice-cold fear. They had a rare window of opportunity, yet it was brief. Was the town truly ready to support a significant change? Would they capitalize on this news or let it slip away? The mayor raised a hand for silence, a mixture of authority and excitement present in her stance. "But I must stress, no development will happen without a well-prepared plan. This is where your proposal comes in, Charlie. Right? Right? Charlie nodded vigorously, adrenaline coursing through his veins. We need to harness this moment. This could be more than just a festival. We can tell our story and, more importantly, show why Mill Creek matters. Jake leaned close, whispering, "You've got this, Dad. Just remember to highlight the voices of our community." Charlie turned to meet his son's supportive gaze, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. "I'll reach out to everyone," he vowed, the weight of their shared vision igniting a fire within him. "Together, we will put together a proposal that shows our strengths." There was a buzz of enthusiasm in the room, faces brightening as ideas flew from every corner. They spoke of ways to gather testimonials from alumni, reach out to businesses, even connect with local artists who could showcase Mill Creek's vibrant spirit. But as excitement took hold, Charlie couldn't shake a lingering doubt. Could they really mobilize their community in time? With changes looming, the pressure felt immense. The mayor soon brought them back to focus. "We have only 2 weeks to submit our proposal. Time is not on our side and we need to be strategic. I suggest we create task forces to tackle sections of the proposal: funding, community feedback, and project design." Charlie's stomach churned. 2 weeks? It seemed impossible. He caught a glimpse of the crowd, faces determined, yet each also seemed to carry a weight of uncertainty. "All right, let us break into groups," he suggested, his voice steadier than he felt. "Let us assign roles. We'll meet every evening until we have something formidable." As the energy shifted toward action, Charlie scanned the room, seeing neighbors rallying together, hearts beating as one toward a common goal. Yet doubt still echoed in his mind. Would they really come through in time? He swallowed hard, taking a deep breath. "The future of Mill Creek is at stake," he implored. "Let us make this matter." Just then, the phone buzzed again, the mayor's brow furrowing as she inspected the screen. Charlie's heart sank as another wave of silence filled the room. "What now?" he whispered to himself, the edge of apprehension clawing at him, before he could brace himself for another. Surprise, the mayor looked back at the crowd, her expression shifting from concern to something darker. "We need to discuss news that might complicate our progress. Something about the funding source." The air grew thick with tension once again, and Charlie felt that all too familiar sense of uncertainty creeping back in. What had he missed? What was this new complication that threatened their progress? He could feel the community drawing in around him, each member hanging on the precipice of possibility, yet teetering there with him. What awaited them on the other side of this revelation? Would they be able to hold on to the hope they had just grasped, or would it slip away as quickly as it had appeared? The mayor exhaled sharply, her eyes narrowing as she processed the incoming message. The room hung in a taut silence. Every breath felt like a shared heartbeat among the gathering. Charlie's own heart raced, thundering wildly against his ribcage. A funding complication? Had something changed overnight that he wasn't aware of? Finally, the mayor's voice cut through the heavy air, trembling slightly. "It appears that the state is reevaluating allocations for certain projects, and our partnership might not be as secure as we hoped." She paused, letting the weight of those words settle like a dark cloud overhead. Funding could be redirected elsewhere. The collective gasp that followed felt like a punch in the gut. Charlie's chest tightened, the hope that had surged just moments ago now crumbling under the heavy pressure of doubt. All the plans, the dreams, flickered like a candle caught in a draft. It was becoming increasingly clear that their initial excitement might just be a mirage. Claire's voice spoke out first, shaking slightly but determined. "What does this mean for us? Is there anything we can do?" The mayor nodded, a flicker of resolved determination in her eyes. "We've still got 2 weeks to put our best foot forward. If we can demonstrate community support and a clear, comprehensive plan, we can fight for our funding." Tom piped in, fists clenched. "We can do this. We've got to rally everyone. The people of Mill Creek won't stand for this. They've worked too hard for too long." There was fire in his words, a surge of energy igniting the room once again. Charlie felt a stirring within him, but it was entwined with fear. Could they really muster that energy in just 2 weeks? He looked around, watching as neighbors nodded at one another, exchanging expressions of concern mixed with determination. Was it possible to turn doubt into resolve? To flip that switch into something powerful? Okay, so the task forces are still critical, Charlie said, his own voice gaining momentum. This means we need to connect with the community in a way we hadn't planned. Let us set up meetings in every corner of the town. We need to hear from everyone, the families, the schools, even local businesses. This is a chance to show who we really are. To stand together. A murmur of agreement surged through the crowd, like a wave building as each person felt the message resonate deeply. Smiles began to carve into faces that had been tight with concern moments ago. Infectious hope spreading despite the doubts that plans began to take shape. They split into groups. Charlie found himself exchanging phone numbers and ideas with people he had only waved to before. Suddenly, neighbors were becoming allies. Each voice buzzed with fresh ideas, mixing testimonials with local art, reaching out to everyone they knew to spread the word about their cause. But just as excitement began to rise again, Jake squeezed Charlie's hand. "Dad, what if we don't get enough support? What if this backfires?" Charlie knelt down, meeting his son's anxious gaze. "We can't let fear make our decisions for us. We need to give it our all. We might just surprise ourselves." The weight of that moment felt heavy and invigorating all at once. Charlie felt like he was standing on the edge of something massive, an emotional precipice that could lead to a better future or shatter their dreams once more. His heart was a tangled mix of hope and dread. Time was slipping away, and the stakes felt higher than ever. Charlie looked back at the group, now buzzing with renewed vigor. "Let us do this. Let us prove that Mill Creek is worth fighting for, not just to the state but to ourselves." The room erupted with cheers, voices mingling into a chorus of unity and strength. Yet even as he felt that surge of energy, Charlie couldn't shake the sense of urgency in his gut. What lay ahead was fraught with uncertainty. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again, and he glanced at the screen. A text from Claire sparked a fresh wave of worry. "I just heard something about another community facing similar issues. We might need to reach out sooner than planned." His heart raced. Was there more to discover? What if their struggles weren't unique? As he stood there, the thought sent a chill down his spine. Would this news be their undoing? Or could it be the final piece of the puzzle that connected them to something greater? With determination coiling within him, Charlie realized they were standing at a crossroads, one that could either lead them toward redemption or unravel everything they had just built. Which path would they take? The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over Mill Creek. With a renewed sense of purpose, Charlie gathered his neighbors together. Completion and hope intertwined within him, but the pressure of time bore down on his shoulders. He knew they had to act quickly. "All right, everyone, we need to develop a solid plan. Let's split up into teams." His voice rang out like a bell, jolting the group back to focus. He pointed to different clusters in the room. "Tom, you head up the social media outreach. Claire, can you coordinate with the schools? We need their voices loud and clear. And I'll reach out to local businesses. We all need to show our support." Faces lit up with determination as they rallied behind Charlie's leadership. But amidst the enthusiasm, doubt lingered, a thick fog that threatened to cloud their vision. Charlie could see it in Jake's eyes when he glanced back. "Dad, how will we get them to notice us? I mean, the state? They have other priorities." Charlie knelt again. "Our stories, son. That's what we share. Everyone in this town has a story about how this community has shaped their lives. We can make them listen." Jake nodded slowly, processing his father's words. They spent the next few hours mapping out a plan. Laughter bubbled up, punctuating the serious discussions as friends dug deep into their memories to uncover moments that defined Mill Creek. It became more than just a battle for funding. It was about fighting for their identity. Every heartfelt tale was like a beacon, shining light into the uncertainties. As evening fell, the teams dispersed to different corners of the town. Charlie and Jake headed to the local diner, where word of mouth traveled faster than wildfire. The smell of fries and burgers drifted in the air, wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. The diner buzzed with animated conversations as families gathered around tables. "Okay, buddy. Let us work the room, Charlie said, pumping a fist in the air as if to spur a sense of adventure. Jake tugged at his father's sleeve. What if they don't care? Then we show them why they should. With renewed determination, they approached the first table. An older couple sat there, deep in discussion. Charlie cleared his throat, and they turned their attention toward him. Excuse me, neighbors. We're looking for stories from Mill Creek. We need your voice for something important. They leaned in, curiosity piqued. Charlie shared about the funding cuts, the efforts to pull the community together, and how their stories could impact the future of Mill Creek. The couple listened, eyes widening with every detail. The woman reached for her husband's hand, squeezing it tightly. Can't end like this, she murmured. As the night progressed, Charlie felt the excitement rise. Each table they approached brought laughter, nods of agreement, and even the occasional heated debate. That sense of community he longed for was bubbling to the surface. Despite moments of rejection and indifference, as they moved from group to group, the room seemed to ignite with life. The diner was a tapestry of voices stitched together by shared memories. Suddenly, chaos broke out. A commotion near the door caught Charlie's attention. A group of teenagers entered, laughing loudly, their energy spilling over into the already vibrant atmosphere. One of them, a girl with bright blue hair, caught sight of Charlie and approached. Hey, I heard you were talking about the community meeting. Can we help out? Charlie blinked, surprised by the sudden transition. These were the kids who seemed to have one foot out the door, ready to escape the town. Of course, we need all hands on deck. As the girl nodded enthusiastically, Charlie felt a surge of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they would rally enough support after all. But just as he began to feel the weight lift slightly, his phone vibrated in his pocket again. With a sinking feeling, he pulled it out. Claire's name flashed on the screen. Charlie, you need to check this out, it's big. The urgency in her text sent his heart racing. Was it more news about other communities? Or was it something that could shift everything he thought he understood about their struggle? As he looked up at Jake, who was chatting with the blue-haired girl, Charlie couldn't ignore the tightening sensation in his chest. What awaited them next? Charlie glanced at Jake, his heart pounding like a drum. The optimism from the diner faded, replaced by the gnawing anxiety of the message on his screen. He knew Claire well enough to sense when something was crucial. Jake, hold tight, he said firmly, cutting through the laughter and chatter surrounding them. I have to take this. Jake's brow furrowed. What's wrong? Just stay right there, Charlie replied, stepping out of the diner and into the evening air, the warmth of the day giving way to the coolness of night. He tapped Claire's number, his pulse quickening as the phone rang. Claire answered almost immediately, her voice charged with energy. Charlie, you won't believe what I just found. It's about the town's funding crisis and a lot more. Just tell me. He tried to keep his tone steady, but anxious tension wound its way into his words. I talked to Marcy at the town hall. She rushed on, each word spilling out like a waterfall. She said that the state might reconsider the cuts if they see a turnaround in community support. But here's the kicker, they found out about a huge misallocation of funds. A large chunk was funneled away for a project that was never completed. She paused, taking a breath. And it seems like it's been going on for years. Wait. What? Charlie felt the weight of those words settle on his shoulders. So, there's actually money? Money that could be supported us? Exactly. There's something here that we can leverage. If we band together and present this information at the meeting, they'll have to listen. We have a shot to save what we have, Charlie. Hope flooded Charlie's heart, an electric spark igniting. Yet, another feeling clawed at him, fear. What do we need to do? Gather the stories you've been collecting. We'll use them as evidence of community strength. We need to frame this as a story about the town and its people, not just numbers on a spreadsheet. Charlie glanced at the diner, where Jake stood talking animatedly with the blue-haired girl. All right, I'm on it. This could change everything. Meet you back at my house in 20? Claire asked. See you then. A plan formed in his mind, a river of excitement rushing through him. This was it. They could put the pieces together. As he returned to the diner, Charlie felt transformed. He looked at Jake, who had engaged a small group of teens with his infectious energy, and felt a surge of pride. "Hey everyone," he called, raising his voice to grab their attention. "I just got some powerful news that could change what you're fighting for. Let us huddle up. We need all voices in on this." Jake and a few of the teens turned, curiosity lighting up their faces. "What is going on, Dad?" Jake asked, stepping forward. "There's a real chance that we can turn this around, but it's gonna take everything we've got," Charlie said, urgency threading through his words. The atmosphere shifted, intensity igniting as neighbors gathered around him, eager and attentive. The excitement buzzed in the room, shining through the dim light of the diner. Charlie shared the news about the misallocated funds and their unique opportunity. "But we need to act fast," he continued, looking from face to face, gauging their reactions. "We need you all working together, showing up for the meeting with your stories. This is about more than just money. It's about Mill Creek." A collective nod swept through the group. Hands met in solidarity, a palpable spark of unity forming. Suddenly, the diner door swung open. Claire stepped inside, her expression serious but driven. "I spoke to Marcy again. They're starting to gather intel. We can't waste time. They want to silence us, and we may have a small window before they do. Let us move," Charlie declared, the weight of hope swelling within him. Every moment counts. Yet, as they rose to action like a team of athletes ready to win, another vibration from Charlie's phone made him pause. He glanced at the screen again, a number he didn't recognize. Just as the familiar buzz of excitement surged, an uneasy feeling crept in. Who is it this time? He wondered, silently, looking between Claire and Jake, wondering what curveball was about to come their way. Was it simply chaos? Or was it a sign of something deeper lurking in the shadows? And as he contemplated that call, he felt a thread of fear tugging at him, asking him were they really ready for whatever was coming next? Charlie stood in the heart of Mill Creek, the excitement of the diner still echoing in his veins. But the shadows of uncertainty lingered like storm clouds above. He clutched his phone tightly, heart racing, unsure whether to answer the call. The town's hope rested on him, and yet doubts crept like weeds in the corners of his mind. "Dad?" Jake's voice broke through the chaos. Fear mingled with determination. "What's next?" Charlie took a deep breath, digging deep for strength. "We rally everyone together, kiddo. We need our community to stand united. It's now or never." The words felt like a promise, and the bright fire of purpose ignited even stronger in him. They left the diner, heading toward the town square. The sun dipped lower, casting a warm glow that felt like a reminder of all they had fought for. Families were starting to gather, curiosity shimmering in the air. Charlie could see it in energy tinged with excitement, yet underlined with the weight of what lay ahead. He climbed onto a low brick wall, scanning the crowd as he gathered his thoughts. "All right, everyone," he called, his voice rising above the murmur. "We have an incredible chance ahead of us, something we can build together. The state may have overlooked us, but we don't have to let them. Change begins today, right here in this town." A rush of energy swept through the crowd, smiles breaking out and heads nodding. Charlie felt the warmth inside him grow. This was what he wanted. Connection, understanding, empowerment. Claire stepped forward, her usual fierceness softened by sincerity. "We've got stories that need to be told. These stories embody the spirit of Mill Creek and show not only who we are but what we can become." The crowd rippled with murmurs of agreement, and Charlie's heart soared. He could feel it, the unity building around them. "Everyone here has a reason to care," he continued, locking eyes with each individual. "Whether it's about your kid's future, the state of our schools, or simply the pride in calling Mill Creek home. This isn't just about money or funding. It's about our love for this community." Then, without hesitation, he called out, "Join me. Let us create a directory of stories, happiness, struggles, triumphs. Every voice matters. Let us do it," shouted someone from the back, igniting a chorus of agreement that surged like a wave. In that moment, Jake stepped up beside his father, his expression shifting from doubt to pride. We'll gather everyone's stories and submit them. And we can use social media to spread the word. He sounded so sure, and it bolstered Charlie's resolve even further. As Charlie braced himself for the next wave of energy, the phone in his pocket buzzed again. But this time, he ignored it. It was time for the community to shine. 2 weeks flew by like the rapid beat of a drum. Every evening was filled with laughter and determination as families and teens united, framing their stories into a tapestry of resilience and hope. The festival came to life, drawing people from distant parts of the town. Each success brought them closer together. They laughed, cried, and defined what Mill Creek truly stood for. Finally, the day of the meeting arrived. Together, they marched into the town hall, a sea of faces buzzing with expectation. Teachers held hands with parents. Children waved cheerful signs that read Mill Creek matters. Charlie caught Jake's eye, and the warmth of that moment filled him with pride. The mayor's voice could be heard as they entered, detailed plans unfurling as she sat poised at the front. Charlie's heart raced, each beat echoing in the silence that settled over the room. They prepared. This time, they were ready to as he stood up to speak. Charlie felt transformed. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you not just as Charlie the garbage man, but as a part of our ever-evolving community. We have a unique chance to rewrite our story. Every story was told that day, every voice made heard. When it came time to present, Charlie stood tall, recounting not just facts and numbers but the essence of everything they uncovered. Together, the misallocated funds, yes, but more importantly, the power of community, unity, and love for one another. By the end of the meeting, they didn't just see the spark of change. They felt it. The room erupted with applause, voices mingling into a resounding cheer that rolled like thunder as Charlie stepped down. He caught Jake's proud smile. The air felt electric, and in that swirl of unity, he saw all the threads of their lives coming together, interwoven with hope. "Dad," Jake said softly, emotion filling his voice, "I'm glad we fought for this together." Charlie's heart swelled, tears of joy blinking away the hardships behind them. "I couldn't have done this without you." Change doesn't mean losing who we are. It means embracing it. The future may have been uncertain, but for the first time, Charlie knew they were stepping forward not alone, but hand in hand with a community that believed, fought, and transformed together. This was the beginning, and as they left the hall, Charlie soaked in the laughter and cheers that filled the streets. It was a new dawn for Mill Creek, brighter than they had ever imagined. Now, more than ever, it was time to come together, uplift one another, and embrace the journey ahead. You need to subscribe now to keep up with these incredible stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to fuel our reach. Even the smallest act makes a world of difference. Comment on your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your voice matters. Let us take this journey together.